I travel a ton, so I know what it's like to be on the road and trying to maintain your training volume. So what I wanted to do here was show you a couple exercises that you could do if you're a beginner, you're learning handstands, and you don't want to lose time while you're on a week or two trip, so that you can keep your skills fresh and keep building up the endurance in the specific way for handstands, no matter where you are. So the first exercise that I would have you do, make sure you warm up first, but then once you are, I would do a pike up drill on the floor. And so basically, all we're gonna do here is put our hands on the ground in front of our knees. From here, we're gonna pull our chest up and in, lean our weight onto our hands. Once you feel that pressure on your hands, we're gonna push up through straight legs, keeping the shoulders in place, and then slowly come back down. Sit down on your heels all the way. Shake it off if you need to. Pike back up. Control down slow every single time. Controlling down slow is going to build up the wrist. It's going to build up the straight arms, and it's going to build up the endurance in that shoulder position. I like to do between 7 and 10 reps. So by the end, you're actually pretty smoked, even if you're in pretty good shape. One more time. Hands on the floor, lean weight so it's heavy on your hands with nice straight elbows, and from here, push up through the legs until your shoulders touch your cheeks, and slowly come back down. I'm doing this exercise on the tops of my feet. If you're really a beginner, that's probably going to be really uncomfortable, so it's totally okay if you work from the bottoms of your feet and pike up like this until your feet get used to that pain. Another option, if your feet do hurt, is to find something a little softer, like a cushion. You can elevate your feet a little bit, and then you can perform that same exercise off the top of the feet without any pain. You can also just put a towel on the floor and achieve the same effect. But that pike up drill is going to warm up the wrist. It's going to get those elbows nice and straight. It's going to get your shoulder push going. It's going to do a ton of things, and you can lean into it more and more as you get warmed up, set to set. 2-3 sets of 10 to start is a great way to get moving. And of course, if you're really a beginner in your handstands, you're probably limited on shoulder flexibility. So you can very simply come to the edge of your bed, a table, a counter, anything that's an elevated surface, put your hands on it, and then drop your head down between your shoulders. Work in reps. Come all the way back up, back down, and each time you come down, you should find that you can get a little deeper and a little bit bigger stretch. Just each time, make sure you're focused on pushing as far forward as you can, keeping the elbows locked. This way you'll have the space in your shoulders so you don't get any pinching pain or anything funky. Sometimes if those shoulders are a little sunken in, or if those elbows bend, we'll get some binding in the shoulders and you'll get a sharp pinching pain, and you don't want to ignore that. Don't work through that pain. Focus, long push, straight elbows, and then just work the range of motion you have. If you get stuck here, totally fine. If you're more flexible and you can dive through and really start to lean on those shoulders and open them up, that's what we're trying to work towards. Combine this with active mobility by taking a towel, rolling it up nice and tight, sit down. We're going to place our head on our knees, or as close as you can get if you can't actually make contact. If you just here, totally fine. If you can make it, we'll go head all the way to the knees. We're going to have that same straight elbow position, long reach in the shoulders, and hands about shoulder width apart. And from here, we're going to raise as high as your flexibility allows. Come back down. Raise. come back down. With this exercise, I like to alternate it with the one I just showed you. So I'll do 1 set, shoulder stretch, 10 reps up and down. Then I'll come back to this one. The first set, I'm gonna do 10 reps. And each rep, I'm just gonna hold 1001 and slowly come back down. Lift 1002, slowly come back down. Go back to my shoulder stretch, and then on the second set, when I come back to this that I call the crying baby raise, we're gonna do longer hold, and we're only gonna do 6 reps. So first set was 10 with 1 second. Second and third set will be 5 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Slowly control down, and then repeat. I'm not gonna make you watch me count 5 seconds for 6 reps, but that's the idea. So the first set, we kind of warm up that movement pattern, wake the muscles up. Then as the flexibility increases from this shoulder stretch, the active mobility with the longer hold is gonna help us engage that flexibility and own it so that we can really use it when we're upside down in the handstand drills. All right, so we warmed up our muscles and our joints with that piking up drill with our feet on the floor or the slightly elevated surface. We stretched out our shoulders and we engaged active mobility. Now, upside down. Simple workout, but it's gonna be very effective no matter where you are. If you have a wall, we're gonna kick up to it and then gradually walk your hands in until they are about 1 hand distance from the wall. From here, I want you to take the feet, instead of pointing them upwards like this, I want you to flex those toes down on both feet, and we'll keep the feet about hip width apart rather than all the way together. This is gonna make it a little bit easier if you're not super flexible. From here, we're going to elevate in the shoulders until our shoulders touch our cheeks. I think my hat's probably in the way. So we're going to elevate in the shoulders until our shoulders touch our cheeks, and then slowly come back down. Elevate, slowly come back down. If you watch my elbows carefully, you'll see that as I come down, my elbows are still straight. And then as I elevate, I push 100% of my shoulders and don't do any extra elbow movement. We're gonna do one more exercise for the handstand, but a little bit of rest first, because you gotta rest between sets if you want that quality to stay high. So this shoulder push is really going to encourage us to balance instead of here with this big gap between our shoulders and our cheeks, and to closer to this position where our shoulders are literally touching our face. And so for the same reason that this stretch, when we want to create a really nice push to clear space so that we can stretch effectively without binding in our shoulders, is the same reason why when we get upside down, we don't want to balance in this really compressed and heavy position. We want to learn to balance in this nice spacious position so that long term, we don't end up with unnecessary tendonitis or problems that can really start to develop as you get more into your training and exposing yourself to handstands more often. So one more drill. It's going to be the same setup. We're going to get about 1 hand length from the wall. We're going to take our toes. We're going to pull them down. This time we're going to have our heels all the way together. And if you look at my ribs here, you can see my ribs are touching the wall. My head is away from the wall, and my butt is away from the wall. And so these 3 points, I want them to change their position. So I want to bring my hips towards the wall. I want to bring my head towards the wall. And then I want to bring my chest away from the wall. And then we'll let that position sag head forward, chest at the wall, hips away from the wall. And then we'll again try to do head and hips at the wall as I bring my chest away from the wall. That's 2 reps. Let's do one more. Shoulders are burning. Chest away from the wall, hips and head at the wall. Create my straightest line I can. And come on out. 3 sets of that, and you're gonna be smoked. So it's 3 sets of every exercise. The piking up drill, you can do that on the floor or with the feet on an elevated surface. Stretch and active mobility. The push to get your shoulders warmed up and understand that tall position. And then the alignment to practice the control and coordination. You don't need balance for any of these drills. So as long as you're comfortable being upside down facing the wall, no matter your skill level, you're going to be able to practice anywhere you go as long as you have a floor and a wall.